I'm going to say it. The Strade Bianche is the best weekend of cycling in the year. In this video, I'm going to explain why. Let's get it. The Strade Bianche is, I would say, the biggest Italian one-day cycling event. It happens in the region of Tuscany in Italy. It starts in a town called Siena and it's famous for its white gravel roads. First of all, Siena is absolutely beautiful. There's quite a bit going on when you're at the Strade Bianche. So you have all the professionals doing recons. You get to watch the women and the men on the Saturday in one day, which is really great for spectators. And then on the Sunday, if you want to, you can also do the Gran Fondo. The Gran Fondo is the same course as the women and it's 137 kilometers and you get to ride a lot of the gravel that the professionals have done the day before. And these reasons, among a few others, are why it's one of the best events to go to in the year, in my opinion. You can fly into Florence or you can fly into Pisa. I think flying into Florence is more optimal, but actually I flew into Pisa because it's more convenient for me to fly in from Girona Airport. I arrived on the Thursday. I got picked up by the kind people at Carnago. Carnago are a main sponsor of this event, so they had some of the sectors labeled after them. They're also my bike sponsor. So really good to catch up with some of the Carnago heads, and we were staying in a really nice hotel like a minute, 2 minutes from the start, which if you can get good accommodation near the start, would highly recommend it. It is nice to stay in the countryside, but politely, we did this last year. Some of the terrain is pretty treacherous for a vehicle to get through. So, unless you're gonna be there in a Panda 4x4, and then you might be all right. So anyway, we arrive on a Thursday. On Friday, we're gonna be doing a recon / group ride with Carnago. So in the morning, we hosted a group ride. And one of the things you're gonna notice immediately when you land in Italy is that the food is just better. I think a great way to judge how food is in a country is how good the sort of base level of food is. So immediately as you touch the ground, the airport food is amazing. This is one of a few reasons why it's such a nice country to go to. Friday is recon day. So we're actually hosting a ride with Carnago and we were going to go and recon like 60 kilometers of the course. The roads are not closed, but you get to sort of ride all the roads at your own speed and it's just quite nice to go and do it. And honestly, we had phenomenal weather this year. So also you can get a good gauge on like what pressure to run on your bike, how your bike is after you've been traveling and make sure everything works because the bumpy gravel sectors will bring out any loose bolts that you haven't done up. Recon was good.
I don't know, that took a couple years away from me.
Completely, but it was hilarious. It was such a good day, like such a war
I can't believe that there's that many good bike riders.
I also have been like trying to work on my like cinematography for my videos. I don't really feel I'm that good at cinematography, and so I'd like to work on it and see what I can get out of myself as somebody doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is what we came out with. So this stuff was shot on like an FX3 and an S-Log. I'm giving myself also a go at color grading, so seeing if I can master that a bit better than I have previously. Just trying to level up the content and give it a good crack. So yeah, this is some of the shots that we got. We went to the team presentation, so this is when the riders come in on their buses and then they go and they present the team and everyone shows which riders they're going to use for the Strade Bianche. They kind of walk down this aisle and then the riders come on stage and some of them chat and then they do interviews. And after the team presentation, I went to bed because it was going to be a big day the next day. Saturday is race day for both the women and the men. Both of the men and the women's races start in the center of Siena. The women are in the morning and the men are in the afternoon. It was good to catch some of the riders. Actually, at the start. Mate, looking forward to seeing you out there, man. I'm going to be on La Tofe screaming for you.
Where the fuck's that Tofe? Oh, there, mate.
Yeah. It's a really steep one. It's like 14-17%. Yeah, well, come and stop. I'll give you some food. They put food on the side. How are you feeling anyway for the recon?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah?
We'll see.
Have you done this before?
Yeah, a few times.
Oh, really?
Top 30, mate.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
But that was before they added a stupid loop that adds an extra 1,000.
Yeah. Well, this is for people like me to watch other people suffer.
Yeah, true.
But I'm going to suffer in the Fondo.
So it's your fault, so.
Yeah, any tips for the Fondo? Tips for people trying to get around Strade?
You got to send the descents full gas. So you start at the front of every single climb, and you finish at the back, and then you slam everyone on the descents again, and then you just do that. And you do every climb 20 seconds, 30
and you don't
slow.
crash.
And you don't crash. That helps.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I've crashed 2 out of 3 years.
Okay, so great advice from you.
Yeah.
Cool, ciao. Shout out to Archie, who gave us his 2 cents on how to survive his first ever Strade, which came with a very eventful result. Tip for getting round.
I've been told don't move up on the gravel.
Don't move up on the gravel.
Stay in the line. Don't move up, because if you try and go around, you're gonna be in the shit part of the gravel.
Aski said start at the front on the climb, finish at the back at the top, and then send it all the way back down.
I would listen to Aski, and I wouldn't listen to Archie Ryan. That's my advice.
Okay, fine. Hey, good luck. Also caught Del Toro, a couple other guys on the way to the start, so I'm sure they were just as nervous as everybody else for the carnage that was about to ensue. If anybody watched the highlights, you can see how carnage it was for the man who barely makes any mistakes, Mr. Tade. So, in my opinion, the best place to watch the Strade Bianche, if you go, is at La Tofe. And La Tofe is one of the steeper climbs that they have in the race towards the end. I think you hit it with about 20k to go, or a little bit less. Basically, it starts on a gravel sector and then it goes into like a 17% climb. The crowds are just unreal here. And I think this is the best spot because you get to see the riders twice. So the women and the men both have to do finishing circuits and they both have to do 2 laps. That's why I pick La Tofe as the place to go, and I would highly recommend it. It's about a 20-minute cycle from Siena, so I'd recommend riding over from the center of Siena to La Tofe, and that's exactly what I did. Yeah, as you'll see, you'll get there and there'll be heaps of Italians on the side of the road. And when the riders come through, it's insane. It's good to see some of the Girona riders out there on course, and of course some of them just had their heads down, like trying to get up the climb. But yeah, shout out to Brody, who put on a good show for the crowds. Definitely a crowd favorite for the Italians there, handing out things. Also on the Tofe, another great reason is that they serve food there. So there's like 3 vendors at the top just cooking food for everybody, and it's all free. It's you can give like a donation, or if you don't have any cash on you, they're more than happy to feed you. Shout out to this one guy who I photographed. He fed me multiple times on the climb, and he was there last year, and it's like such a phenomenal atmosphere. You know, there's no place I'd rather be other than there. And I personally think I got one of the best pictures of my life here. So I have this little point and shoot. It's a Ricoh GR Mark II, and I picked up this camera for like 350 Australian dollars when I was in Australia. Yeah, with a bit of editing, I got this amazing shot. And shout out to everybody who said they saw me on TV standing in the road. Yeah, I got like an amazing amount of DMs on Instagram. So I'm taking pictures, but I'm also holding the Insta360 in my hand so I can like record the riders coming through. Shout out to Insta360. We're also going to use the Insta360 for the Gran Fondo the next day, so I'll strap that to my bike like this, and yeah, this will capture all the carnage that ensued in the Gran Fondo. If you want an Insta360, I've got like an affiliate link. I do gain a bit of commission from these things, but I do honestly think it's the best. The stabilization is amazing, and the ability to capture so much with this camera is really, really impressive. So thanks to Insta360 for supporting the channel. Yeah, let's get on to the Gran Fondo because this was insane. Now, you're already in Siena. You've gone and watched the pro race. If you stay till Sunday, just do the Gran Fondo. You know, you do need to enter this in advance, I would say, because it does sell out quite quickly. It's an enormous Gran Fondo. I think it might be the biggest Gran Fondo in Italy, to be fair. So the Gran Fondo is 137 kilometers with 2,000 meters of elevation. It's got 42 kilometers of gravel in it, so it's got plenty of gravel. I personally would do it on a road bike, but if you want a bit more comfort, I would recommend doing it on a gravel bike. There's plenty of people doing it on gravel bikes and road bikes. The bike I used for this was the Colnago C68. I had these brand new Pirellis on and I had about 75 PSI on my tires. I found this to be super optimal. I didn't puncture once. Actually, I think they've made some of the gravel sectors a little bit smoother just so that you're not nailing potholes the entire time. But yeah, that was my setup. Would recommend. We get going on the Gran Fondo. You have two options with the Gran Fondo. You can do the long one or the short one. And I had a moment of panic where I didn't have the GPS in front of me and I couldn't see which one was the longer one or the shorter one, and I was just shouting like which one is which. So
Which is the long one? This is longer. Okay.
we get going and it goes immediately downhill from Siena. And if you're racing near the front, this is quite a scary experience. And like, I wouldn't recommend being near the front if you're not comfortable riding in a bunch. If you're not comfortable doing that, just stay a little bit further back and just like roll through the riders as it gets a bit more spread out, because it might be a Gran Fondo, but they definitely take this seriously, the Italians, especially the guys near the front. They are 100% racing it. They have Swannies on course. There are teams here. There are Gran Fondo teams at this Gran Fondo, which is just quite funny in my opinion, but here's what it is. And quite honestly, it was really hard. Really hard. Let me explain why. Descending at Siena, you've got Italians screaming at each other, left, right, center. Cazzo this, cazzo that. Like, I don't even know half of the words that these people are saying, but a good example of this is this rider like rode into me, and then I rode into this other rider, and then this rider just decided to have a go at me for one point. So I actually made the front group here, so I knew it was going to split after this gravel sector, which then goes up a climb. Before we hit the bottom of this climb, I bumped into fellow Brit Jesse Yates, and we had a few words to exchange, which is just me whinging about it and him telling me to lock in pretty much. But yeah, it was quite funny.
Yates, this is fucking nuts, bro. Yeah. Mate, I've never... Fuck. I'm loving it, but it's... Fuck, I feel like I'm gonna die. Yeah. Just keep eyes forward. Yeah. I literally feel like I'm showing great. It'll be a lot easier, man. Yeah, it's gonna split there, so I feel like I'm gonna end up in this ditch any minute now.
Yeah, I just about got over this climb to make the front group, which I was like quite happy with. I was riding like really aggressively when I could, and it definitely helped.
Here comes.
I don't speak English.
Don't worry.
I did 260 watts for the first 2 hours, and after 2 hours I got royally dispatched from this group, even though these are some of the best numbers I've done this year for 2 hours. That was an interesting experience going out the back then, but I didn't have the minerals to get up that climb at the front group, so that was my day done in the front group. And I did the Fondo in 4 hours, and then for the entire thing I averaged just over 240 watts, which is 4.1 watts per kg for me. Yeah, I also bumped into Safa Brian and Jesse at the finish, and we had some funny words to exchange afterwards as well.
Like 311, I look at the front and you're on there and I'm like, you weigh like fucking 55 fucking wet boots.
I was flying. For the first 2 hours I was absolutely flying, but then for the rest of it I was not flying.
Those fucking lightweight.
Yeah, I was looking for you for ages though.
Yeah,
I was like, where's my guy, bro?
I got fucking
when? I was genuinely scared for my life. I came up to you and just fucking whinged about it.
Yeah, you did. And I was just like, fucking lock in, bro. It was fucking scary.
I was in a lot of trouble after that first climb. Yeah, I barely made it back on.
Everyone was shouting so much Italian. A destra, a destra. Be more Italian.
Be more Italian. Yeah, exactly, man.
He hit me. And he punched me and I was like, look, don't punch me.
I told him that, like, you've been riding like a dickhead all day.
Yeah.
Fucking relax.
And
then he kind of relaxed.
The Gran Fondo sometimes stressed me out more than the races.
No, 100%, man. Yeah. The moves they were pulling, I was like, if we crash at this speed, we are all gonna die.
Half of them just like,
we're not gonna take me. We're not gonna land as well as Tadej did, you know? Okay, were you two together then?
Yeah, we're
okay, well, I got well and truly dispatched. Well,
you
at the front, mid-group.
Fucking climbed off on the climb.
Cannot ride up this hill. Both of my legs are just completely locked up. Sometimes you just have to laugh in these situations. We're getting passed by like 50-year-old Italian men. nodded.
The steak, wine and cheese diet doesn't help.
Those like race debriefs are actually so much fun, especially when you've all gone through it. You can all kind of relate to each other. It's something I really like about cycling. Also, please don't feel like you have to race this. Like, there's plenty of people just riding it because they want to ride the course. And I think it's great because it gives you a really, really good perspective on what the professionals actually do. After the debrief, I promptly inhaled 2 pizzas. I took my merry self to bed. And in the morning, I just kind of came to realization that this is just the best event because you're not only doing the Grand Fondo, you're also on closed roads, which is really, really nice. So you can be on either side of the road and just doing your thing, which is really quite nice. There's loads of nutrition stops if you want to stop for nutrition. If you want to take it slow, you can. If you want to race it, you can. It's really hard. Again, from a spectator point of view, it's just unreal. The Saturday, women and the men both racing on the same day, which is not that common. And also with them on finishing circuit, so you get to see both of them twice. You know, you just get to see so much racing, and at this time of year, flying to Florence or Pisa is really not that expensive. You know, this is kind of the off season when it comes to flying. So honestly, it's just one of the best weekends. I did it last year. I'll do it next year. I'll do it for the foreseeable. Strade Bianche. Thanks for coming. Let's get it.